Hi everyone, I am meteorologist Robert Spetta. It is currently the morning of the 6th of April 2020 in Vanuatu. I am talking about Cyclone Harold, now an absolute beast of a storm system. So the date and the time is important to note because this storm system, it continues to rapidly intensify and the forecast is changing really hour by hour. So if you're watching this a few days after I posted it, definitely dramatic changes going on there. I do want to take a look at the infrared satellite imagery with this storm because, like I mentioned, it is an absolute beast of a system. An eye wall really just rapidly intensifying right in here. You have these cloud tops exceptionally high. I'll get to the Dvorak scale in just a second, but this intensified up to the equivalent of a super typhoon if it was in the northern hemisphere, about a category 4 currently if on the Saffir-Simpson scale, and a category 5 on the Fiji meteorological scale. Now, each one of these scales are different. I point them all out for reference for people that may not be accustomed to the specific scales in your region. Regardless, all of those are on the upper edge of the intensity, and it really kind of shows you on satellite imagery here. There's just a buzzsaw shape. You have that perfect inflow coming in from the north, a little bit of dry air off here towards the west, but regardless, there's still plenty of moisture with the equatorial trough wrapping around here. This is hitting the northern edges of Vanuatu. That is right in here. Remember, Port Vila is just down here towards the south. The good news, and there's a little bit of some good news here, the latest track on this storm system does have it pulling further towards the east. That's good news because that's going to make it move north of Port Vila. You're still going to get the outer rain bands, but the bad news is it's now a Cat 5 in the Fiji meteorological scale. So a lot of those smaller towns in northern Vanuatu away from Port Vila still are going to be impacted by this quite exceptionally. And this is actually microwave imagery. You can see how this just kind of stalled out and then it started to drift towards the east. This is really bad news for the northern island of Vanuatu there, especially some of these bays and inlets. I'm really concerned. I noticed that there are some smaller towns on these northern islands here. I mean, only a few hundred people live in them, but that is definitely of utmost concern for me because it's just absolutely they are just getting blasted. Think of how Dorian impacted the Bahamas last year. Northern Vanuatu is getting that right now from the storm system, and it really quite scary actually what they're being felt out there. Winds right now, according to JTWC, are 125 gusting to 150 knots. Pressure's down to 910 millibars. There's a look at your Dvorak scale, how it rapidly intensified 2 days ago. We saw a little bit of that eye wall replacement cycle in here, but then it re-intensified after that eye wall replacement cycle went by, and that's why at this time we're right around 125 knots in the intensity. I'd like to show you the intensity so you can get an idea of how strong this storm system has been. So here's your official track from the Fiji Meteorological Agency. They do bring this north of Port Vila, still got those outer rain bands in there, but places like, and I deeply apologize if I am saying this wrong, Imbrian, you're going to be hit probably by eye wall winds with 100 knots or stronger as that passes just towards your north. And then that city, or that town I should say, definitely a significant storm surge and damaging winds very well possible. There's a look at the official track from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Outer rain bands still impacting Port Vila, but like I said, it is the worst of it just towards the north, and then eventually tropical storm strength winds will be moving over towards the Fiji area as well. So for Port Vila, I still think heavy rain is going to be a major impact there. Actually, I'll show you what the latest model with the GFS is indicating at Port Vila, upwards of about 100 to 200 millimeters. Let me actually pull that up here real quick. Yeah, I think mainly because of that orographic lifting, you're going to see some of these areas about 100 to 200 millimeters, some of those higher elevations, northern end of the island. The city itself, though, still could get some pretty decent rainfall, but it's really back towards the north where we're looking at the 200 to 300 mark in some of those areas. So definitely pretty serious stuff, guys, and nothing to laugh at. Let's take a look at the latest model run, and actually I'll pull this up here as well with the ECMWF. This does pull it towards the east basically as we go ahead through Tuesday early morning. Actually, I'll pull this down so you can see the time here. This is Monday night into Tuesday, passing just north of Port Vila, eventually moving off towards the east, but it's those smaller islands in northern Vanuatu which are absolutely going to get wrecked from this. And then eventually, like I mentioned, pulling by midweek into the latter part of the week just south of Fiji, which is going to bring a tremendous amount of rainfall on the northwestern slopes of the island there as well. So a lot of talk about here, guys, a lot going on with this storm system. If you are being impacted by it, please let me know. It is pretty serious, especially for northern Vanuatu. I cannot stress that enough. They are just being absolutely wrecked by this storm system, and it's not weakening because it still has a lot of energy to work with. So stay safe out there. As always, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll have another update as soon as I can.